Right, the question is, how did we get to this particular point? So this basically predetermines the location of your dual compressor, which is your braided extension hose. Now this is the 300mm hose. What you want to do is mock it up in your cavity over here, and that'll determine the location, the ideal location for where that's going to be connected up. So the location of our outlet connection point quick release is going to be here on the outside, nice and easy to access. So that kind of determines that. So if you're obviously going to go somewhere else in the truck, then so be it. So in terms of the template, what we've done is we've cut it out. It makes it easier to work with, especially if we're working around the roller bearings on the tray. So what we've done is we've aimed for just above each of the roller bearings, or just below the roller bearings. So when the bolts actually go through and mount the dual compressor, the bolts should have enough clearance for the drawer just to slide just past the bolts. I've measured the clearances of the roller bearings, between roller bearings and the exterior most dimension, and that's about 5mm, and the bolts are about 3.5mm plus a washer, so you're looking at 5mm, so it's very, very close. And to just make sure, double check your measurements every single time. The heights, make sure all the levels are good so you get it nice and straight, because the last thing you want is when you're trying to slide that drawer through and one of your mounting holes is slightly up and then it starts hitting that. So we have measured the rear of the drawer, and that measures 490mm. So we've got 5mm clearance either side. So this measures 5 to the outermost part is 500mm. So we've got 5mm either side. So it's very, very close tolerances to get these bolts in. But once they're in, they should be good. So we're going to drill the holes and then get this mounted up, and we'll mock up the drawer and make sure there's good clearance. Okay, so the next stage is basically mounting up the quick release mount. That's going to be externally visible here. And the great thing about these Outback Solution drawers is they obviously the metal construction, which is really cool. And they are about 2mm thick, so it's a decent, obviously, fixing points. That's why I've obviously opted for the compressor to be fixed to this, because it's very, very sturdy. So we're going to mount the quick release through there, and then in order for you to get obviously that connection from your compressor to the external point of your drawer, you're going to need your braided hose. So this is an extra you've got to buy for the braided hose. This is a 300mm long braided hose. You can get longer. And then what you will need is the AN4 fitting, which denotes that sort of fixture there. That basically marries up with that braided hose. It creates a really good seal. So what we're going to do is, before we obviously screw all this together, we'll have PTFE tape. We'll tape up the threads and make sure it's a really good, nice and tight seal. So we'll do that. And then the thread on this side is a 1/4 inch NPT thread. So that's what you want to look out for. So that 1/4 inch NPT thread goes directly into the compressor. And then from the opposite end of your braided hose is again an AN4. This time it's a female 1/4 inch NPT thread, and that marries up with that, so which is quite nice. So that has an O-ring inside there, but again we're going to put PTFE tape on there to ensure it's a really good robust seal before we mount it up. So in order for us to drill a hole, we're probably going to go for about a 10 or 12mm hole, sort of centrally. Make sure it doesn't foul anything on your tailgate, any of the bolts and stuff, so that should work out pretty good. So the next stage of the project is moving on to the wiring. So the great guys from ARB have given you a decent owner manual, and if you have a look in there, there's a really full-on and in-depth wiring diagram for you that explains everything got to do and how to connect your switch up, connect the positive and neutral cables, both for 12 volts and 24 volts, which is very, very helpful. However, if you feel not confident in doing the wiring, especially if you're going to be running extended wiring like in my case, make sure you get someone who is knowledgeable and has the experience in this. In my particular case, I employed the services of my good friend Tim. He's been an absolute asset to this project. He's helped me get the right size cabling, and not only that, make sure it's properly protected with some decent Copex. And he's given me some good sort of heat shrink so we can waterproof the cable entries going not only from the bed of the truck but obviously in the engine bay, so everything's well protected, it's waterproofed, and that's what you need in a particular installation such as this. It works! If you liked the video, hit that thumbs up, and if you haven't already done so, please stick around and subscribe, and we've got more videos like this coming up in the future. I'll see you in the next one.